Our next race on the Friday card we're going to be talking about is the Juvenile Fillies Turf. Just a reminder, folks looking for a lot more information about the Breeders' Cup can go over to inthemoneypodcast.com and inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. But there's also going to be a ton on our YouTube channel and, of course, as part of the Monster Pod themselves. And in this Monster Pod segment, we bring in a guest who's been on our airwaves before, but never on one of these shows. Very happy to welcome back a researcher from Sky Sports Racing and my colleague, Callum Helliwell. Callum, how are things?
I'm all good, Peter. How are you? Very fun to see you in the form of video. This is wonderful. It's almost like you're in the room with me.
Well, we're trying to get you. One of these years, we're going to get you out to the Breeders' Cup. I know it's a meeting you follow closely, but not one you've had the chance to attend in person quite yet. Am I remembering that right?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. You gave me hope, and that's the worst thing you can give me. As a Washington Commanders fan, I'm all about hope, and I know all about having my dreams smashed. And you've come in, you've given me hope. You sent me a few very positive WhatsApp messages. I even told my mum, I'm like, this is it, mum. We've made it. And then still let me down at the last minute. But it's okay. I'm going over to see a very, very good friend who hopefully one day will become my girlfriend. But we're getting there. I'm going over to see her. She's in
that's
Oregon.
A whole other video.
It's a whole other story, but she's in Oregon, and I'm going to go over to see her. I'm going over there for 9 days. I'm very excited to get out there. So I will be coming overseas, just unfortunately not for the Breeders' Cup.
We'll get you here eventually. It took us a few shots with Vanessa before we made the magic happen. It's just one of those things. But we're here, as much as I would like to see the reality show of your trip to the Pacific Northwest, we're here to talk about this Juvenile Fillies Turf. Really interesting clash, I think, where you can talk about horses from both sides of the pond. Who do you think the right horse to begin with is in here?
First thing I've got to say is now Blue Rose Sens out the race, blew everything up. That was my absolute steal. I think she was right at the top of the market at a really, really short price because she deserved to be there. She's mightily impressive on Arc Day when she won. But I am going to say that the horse I really, really, really like is a horse called Delight. I'm going to take on Meditate, our Irish raider from the Aidan O'Brien yard, and I'm going to go for Delight. I have concerns, but I've got concerns about quite a few of them. I was very, very impressed with her demolition job last time out. And for me, if you told me straight away, without going into much detail, who do I like the most out, especially at the prices, Delight for me would be that choice.
It was the visual impression she made, and what are the concerns that you have about her?
Visual impression, burst away from the field, hit the line hard. You like that. Concern, head carriage. I was really concerned about how high in the air that head was. She doesn't look like a real trier. There's plenty of these in this field who look like real tough cookies. And you know, this race last year, I think the first 8 was split over 2.5 lengths. It was an absolute bunch finish. I want a horse that's going to try. But I think if she can spin off that turn at Keeneland and get first run on these rivals, she might be hard to catch because foot speed, I think she's got the highest amount of foot speed there. And I think she's quick. And I hope that she gets away from them and it doesn't turn into a battle, because I don't want to be behind her if she's in a battle. She doesn't look the toughest.
What do you make of Meditate? This is a horse that I'm already on record saying I think the price is too big in some places. There was some 7-1 around with Blue Rose sent out. That's been cut, but there's still some 11-2 around. I think despite Aidan O'Brien's poor record in the race, she's got the form, she's got the figures. I'm pretty interested in her. What gives you pause there?
She's 9-2 now in most places, so she's getting backed in. People are beginning to fall in, but you've mentioned the poor record for Aidan O'Brien. I would second that with, I don't think she gets a mile. If you look at her form, her Ascot race is over 6. Ascot is a very stiff 6 furlongs, so you can tell that they're going to step up in trip. She then went for, if I can remember what the race was called off the top of my head, she went to the Debutante Stakes over 7 furlongs, and Debutante is a really nice race. It's got a lovely history, very nice for especially little pedigree heads like myself. It's an exciting race for us racing fans. But she won that, but she was bobbing up and down on the 1 spot coming for home. She won by 3/4 of a length, I think it was. But she didn't give the impression that she was being eased down. It gave the impression of this is as far as she goes. She's dropped back to 6 last time at Newmarket. Newmarket, of course, you come out that dip, you've got a power out the hill. She didn't show the power. She didn't show that power coming out the dip. For me, my biggest concern about her is the trip. I think she's the classiest filly in the race. She's got the experience that you can't ask for more experience. But yeah, that trip is a concern, and she's been on the go since April. She's had a lot of starts, this girl. She's only 2, and you've got to be concerned for these 2-year-olds. I mentioned the same thing with Persian Force in one of the earlier races in the sprint. I think these horses that have been really highly tried, I would prefer something with a little less miles on the clock as a 2-year-old in these Breeders' Cup races.
One on my list to ask you about is her stablemate, Never Ending Story. You mentioned your affection for Blue Rose Sen, who will not be competing. Never Ending Story has that form line to her in the Boussac. I didn't think she had the smoothest of runs either of the last couple of goes. Again, Aidan O'Brien, not a great record in the race, but this was one I at least wanted to ask you your opinion of. I certainly think the mile isn't a question for her.
The mile isn't a question for her. You mentioned the traffic problems at Longchamp. I don't think that's enough of an excuse. She was absolutely slapped by Blue Rose Sen. I think if Blue Rose Sen's in this field, she's an even bigger price, obviously. But she's only there's form lines, and then she was in the same race. Like, I could run in the same race as Usain Bolt, but if I'm nowhere near him, it doesn't mean that me and Usain are in the same level of class. She was running against Blue Rose Sen. She just happened to be in the same race. She was well and truly outclassed. She's bumped into some very nice mares all the way through her career. She's been unlucky in that sort of sense where she's kept bumping into really nice quality types. But she could do an Order of Australia and completely fool everyone and come from the clouds and do some damage. But for me, I would be steering well away from her. I think if she wasn't trained by Aidan O'Brien and she wasn't in those colours, we wouldn't be talking about her as having a single shot in this race. I'd be interested if she actually would have been selected by the panel if she was from different connections, because in reality, that form, she's bumped into some good ones and hasn't shown herself to be good enough.
While we're talking O'Briens, one of the Joseph O'Brien runner, I think this is one that'll be pronounced differently on each side of the pond. We'd say Basil Martini. I imagine Basil Martini will get
It's a Basil Martini. Come on now, Peter. It's a Basil Martini.
It's not pasta and it's not Basil.
It's Basil and it's aluminium while you're at it, and it's a pavement, not a sidewalk. I don't know why we need to. What's the deal with horseback riding as well? We always ride them on their backs. There's nowhere else to ride them.
Give me your thoughts on this intriguing, potentially intriguing runner.
£160,000 from Goff, £160,000 from Goff UK. We love this type of race. If you look down the pedigree of these, you're not seeing extremely expensive purchases, but these have been bought for a job and they've done it at a budget price. And I think I'd love to see more American buyers come over to our UK sales and really get stuck in, because there's so much value to be found. It's not just Tats Book 1. It's not just Tats Book 2. You've got Goff, you've got Sportsman, you've got Silver Sales. There's plenty of options to get in right at the bottom level, but also then have a horse that can take you to a Breeders' Cup, which is the dream that everyone in the US wants, especially, and also in the UK now. Tough as nails is Basil Martini. In her last start in the Well Park Stakes, she turns for home in front and she leaves the whole field to shoot her. She pinned on the far side rail and she battles. Head goes down, does it all from the front, and actually gets away from the line. She shrugged them off again. So they've got close. They're finishing in a heat. You've got horses coming over the top, but she found again, and it just launched herself a little bit further and it actually won quite cozily. I think she had a little bit left in reserve. So of those horses, if she can get the head of the field, and she needs to show supreme speed to do that in the US, because they're going to go like the clappers over those first couple of furlongs. But if she can get to the head and she then comes off that turn and has a rail to help, stick in the right hand, rail to the left, she could be really, really tough to pass, because she's the type, you know what I mentioned with Delight, where the head carriages are concerned, I don't think she's a real battler. Complete opposite for Basil Martini, who is tough as nails.
We've got a couple of minutes left. Callum, I'll let you guide the train. Maybe we can speed round through a few of these others that you want to talk about.
All right. Firstly, speed round. Comanche County, as I want to call it. £7,500 already in love. Highland Reel, give it to me. One of the best value sides. Standing at 10 grand at Coolmore. He won at 2, he won at 3, he won at 4. He's been overseas. Send your mares to him. But the thing that really, really liked me is that in the Surfer Girl Stakes, she hit the line like a train. It was only a grade 3. She steps up in class. But the horses that are going to get that trip and are going to relish that 1 mile trip, if she's still involved, if she's got the class to keep up with these early, and she comes rattling home late, I'm all over. Pleasant Passage. I really don't want to know anything because she's tough, but we've not seen her do anything. We've seen her have 2 starts, and it's concerning that she's not got the experience. But my goodness, last start out again, tough. But if I look at something that's a bit more classy from the UK, which I'm amazed, Peter, you've not mentioned, is Midnight Mile. Because every preview I've looked at online, they talk about this thing like it's the second coming of Jesus. Now, we need to be very careful. She may not be quite that level, but how many horses start their career at 14-1 in a Doncaster novice contest? She did. She bolted up on that day over 6 furlongs. They step her up in trip. They send it to Newmarket for the oh-so-sharp stakes. Good race, named after a great horse. She comes from last to first. We talk about hitting the dip. Meditate didn't hit that dip. Now, your courses in America are all flat. It makes it very simple. You don't need to worry about undulations. Our premier flat course, Newmarket, is like a roller coaster. These 2-year-olds are going up and down and up and down. She comes out that final dip and just, she's gone. Absolutely gone. She will get the mile, no problem. She has lack of experience. You'd be concerned about the travelling. She's never. A lot of these have got. A lot of our like top class ones have travelled back and forth over the Irish border. These two, she hasn't, and that would be my major concern, is that a horse like Midnight Mile could get caught up in the occasion. Other one, who's my other one I was looking at? Yes, Last Call. Now, Last Call won the Natalma, which is the traditional trial for this race. I mean, last year's winner, Pizza Bianca, she won it. You've got the top 3 coming to this again. She had to come 4 wide on that turn and got first run. She gets that first run, she wins, but she stays straight. It rivals in behind. I think it's one of the other riders in this race. I think it's Cairo Consort. She wobbled under pressure. This filly didn't, straight as a gun barrel coming out there. So hopefully with that, you know, like with these, like some of these bigger price horses, these 10-1 or higher, you actually know you're going to get a decent run for your money, because they may not have run at that class, but they've shown the attitude and that willingness to win. And for me, that's a big thing on form. I like to see a horse that puts his head down and knows what they're doing, and these 2-year-old fillies are going to just do that. So wide open race, no Blue Rose Sen, which is really sad, but it just makes it even more fascinating to watch. And I'm so glad to see a real good American challenge in this, because it's one of the few races you guys have really, you've locked into, and it could be anyone's race. But yeah, for me, Delight, as long as she's not in a battle. Oh, please pray she's not in a battle.
The hands she's in, I think she could show some improved toughness. I just wonder, this is a very strong European contingent as usual. And I'm glad we got to talk it through with you. It seems like of the foreign contingent, is Midnight Mile the one that you'd put at the top of the list?
Midnight Mile of the Raiders coming over. I know we're not allowed to use the word Raiders now, are we? Got to say the travelling party coming over. Of the travelling party coming over, she'd be my number 1. I was really impressed with that win at Newmarket, and we just don't know her ceiling. She's got a very high floor, and we don't know how high her ceiling goes, but we know that base level of form is Group 3. I mean, come on, that's exciting. 2 starts under her belt. She's battled in every single one of them, but hopefully, you know, this is ideal for her. So I'm looking forward to see her go over and really put a good account of herself out there.
Callum, we'll be bothering you to maybe help out with some of the social videos we're going to do. We're going to do some YouTube shorts with picks for all the different races, best bets from all folks who've appeared on the show through the year. We'd love to have you back from that. We'll reach out to you off air, give that concept a little bit of a tease, but really appreciate your help. And we'll see you at the Breeders' Cup, just not this year.
I'll see you at Breeders' Cup sometime. Peter, again, this is false hope we talk about. I'm living on your every word. I don't even believe these YouTube shorts are going to happen. There, I said it. I don't believe they're going to happen. Another one of Peter's falsehoods. But no, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I've got you back all day. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for those 2 days. Friday, Future Stars Friday. What a great marketing ploy as well. Like, way to get you excited about it before the big day. So I'm looking forward to Future Stars Friday, and then I'm looking forward to the big one on Saturday. Bring on Flightline. Just enjoy it. Just absolutely enjoy him, because they don't come around that often, and I'm very excited to see how far he wins by.
That's the way I see it too. It's great betting. It's great sport. It's the Breeders' Cup. Callum Helliwell, thanks so much.
Thanks, Peter. You're a star. Cheers.